Welcome in, friends. It's beautiful Tuesday morning. Welcome back to Game On. This is your Sports Morning Espresso Shot. I'm your host, Will, here to bring you the latest and greatest going on in the sports world. We got a lot to talk about today, so I'm going to get straight to it. No little chit-chat story time like I like to do in the mornings. No, we're going to get right into it. We got to talk about the UFC. Of course, this broke right as the show was ending yesterday. The biggest news always breaks as we end this show. And then I'm sitting there driving to work and I get the itch of like, man, I want to record something right now. I got thoughts. So that's just been brewing. It's been brewing all day. And I'm glad I waited because we got some responses from fighters and ex-fighters on this deal. So we're going to respond to Brendan Schaub's take on it, but we're going to talk about the UFC and Paramount Plus deal. So we got that. We got the Denver Broncos we're going to talk about today at the end of this, like we usually do. For those of you that don't know, we cover a team a day heading into the football season. We break it down using the stats and charts and the big and beautiful charts over from Warren Sharp's book. So we have that. We got to recap baseball, talk about that. We've got the AP Top 25 poll in. Ooh, baby. History was made with the top 25 poll. History was made not once, but 2 times with the same team. So we're going to talk about that. John freaking Gruden, man. John Gruden. I had this thing pulled up now. There we go. We got the John Gruden news. Let's just say Coach might be back. We're going to talk about that and so much more. But first, let's say hello to all our friends out there. Thank you, Miss Leslie and Grass Guy, for smashing the like button, reposting the stream over on Rumble. If you're watching on Rumble, good morning to the 4,300 of you over there. Hope you are enjoying the show. Hit the like button. Hop in the chat. Say hello. Make fun of my missing front tooth. Go ahead. Get in there. Make fun of it, please. Or say hello. Say something nice about it. If I were you, I'd get all the mean things out of the way now, because tomorrow's a big, doing a birthday stream tomorrow. 34 years old tomorrow. How about that? So we got a birthday stream tomorrow. That's gonna be fun. What else we got? Plus, there's a whole bunch of other news and stuff to talk about, so it's gonna be great. Grass guys, bums. I agree with you. Anyone not hopping in the chat, say hello, liking the stream? Bunch of bums. What are we doing? You guys are better than that. By the way, shout out to everyone over on Rumble. We just a couple weeks ago passed 10,000 followers on Rumble. So I really appreciate that. And thank you guys. This one's for you. One more round of applause for you guys. We passed 10,000 a couple weeks ago. And that was my goal for the football season. We smashed those expectations. We're almost at 13,500. That is insane. And that's all thanks to you guys for showing up every day, hopping the chat, liking the stream, and then reposting this and spreading the word to let everyone know where they can find the most professional, on-time, non-clickbait sports show on the internet. So I thank you guys. I thank you. Good morning, Jamie. How we doing? Jamie, did you win yesterday? Let me check. I forgot what your pick was. I was trying to remember what it was. Padres against the Red Sox. Wait. Am I looking at the right date? That's Monday. Padres didn't play the Red Sox. Padres played the Giants. Did you mean Giants, Jamie? Either way, you said you took the Padres. So I'm assuming you took the Padres. They won. Was it Royals versus Nationals? What am I looking at? Oh, that was 2 days ago. Was Padres versus the Red Sox. I'm all over the place. That's my bad. So what I'm talking about is whoever can hit 5 in a row. You get one pick a day. Padres was Sunday. Royals won. Did you post that one somewhere? I don't see it. Anyways, if you want a chance to win $50 and a copy of Phil Steele's College Football Magazine, I'm giving that away. You got to hit 5 picks in a row, minus 150 or better. Comment on the stream with your pick of the day. You posted in locals. Okay. I don't know why it's not. Let me see. Oh, there it is. I scrolled right past it. Duh. Royals versus the Nationals. That's who you pick. And the Royals, they got it done. Nice. What are you on? 3? Is that 3 in a row? Top of the feed. There we go. Can we post it in here? Post it. Comment on the stream itself. So like, here's yesterday's show. Let me share it. Where I want you to post it, because the live chat, it gets lost in the live chat. Comment down here. Post here. But you better hurry. You get 1 pick a day. And Jamie's on 3 in a row. 2 away. Jamie is 2 away. Damn. I thought it would take some people a while, but Jamie's just like, don't worry, I got this. Undefeated 3-0, never lost. So yeah, comment down here on today's stream, not yesterday's, today's stream. Or you can post it in locals. Or wherever you're watching this, but hopefully you're watching this over on Rumble. All right. I want to start somewhere fun before we get into the UFC stuff. The UFC stuff is crazy. But we got an AP Top 25 pull out. Let's go. College football's so back. What is it? Not this weekend, but next weekend. We get week 0. Oh, inject it into my veins. Is it next weekend, Jamie? The Ireland game that you're going to? Was it Kansas State and Iowa State? Is that who it is? Kansas State, Iowa State? We get a top 25 matchup. Look at that. Kansas State 17, Iowa State 22. But the AP poll is out. We got the coaches poll last week. Now we get the AP poll, and they both agree unanimous. I can't say it with this tooth out. What the hell? Unanimously blah. I can't talk today. I can't say that word today. They both agree that Texas is number 1. Now, the 2 and 3, they flip-flop. But Texas is back. Yeah, it's next weekend. That's what I thought. What up, Boku? Rise and shine, folks. Patriots in the house. How we doing? Unanimous. I can't say, like, my tongue goes to do that, and then my tooth's not there, and I just can't say it. I found a word I can't say with its tooth missing. That is a first. Look at that. Texas, number 1. Everyone agrees Texas is the most talented team out there, and they are number 1 ranked in the country. This is the first time Texas has been ranked number 1 to start the season. This is also the first time that any team has been ranked number 1 overall before the season starts, and in week 1, they are an underdog. How crazy is that? Now, it's also because they're playing the number 3 or number 2, depending on what poll you go with, team in the country, Ohio State, week 1 at Ohio State. So, that's why they're a slight dog. Ohio State has, I think they finally have picked their quarterback. I'm not too worried about Ohio State and their quarterback. They say you got 2 quarterbacks, you got no quarterbacks. Well, Ohio State has a revolving door of quarterbacks. Yeah, they always seem to find someone, the next man up. Hell, they won a national championship, like a decade ago with Cardale Jones as their 3rd string quarterback. RIP. What up, Desbo? Says F Texas. Texas, there we go. Buku says, and they're gonna whip that ass on the 30th. We'll see. I still can't figure out who I'm gonna take in this one. It just feels like Texas. I don't know. I want to take them, but I feel like they're gonna choke this one away. But I do like getting Texas at dog price. Texas, but the one thing that Texas does have that Ohio State struggles with is speed, and Texas has got a lot of speed. A lot of speed. We'll see. Both these teams are going to be there in the playoffs at the end of the season. I guarantee you, both these teams are going to be way different than when they played each other week 1. This might just be a preview. We might see this as a national championship game, but Texas, After going to back-to-back semifinals, they're trying to look to get over the hump, and of course, they've got Arch Manning at the helm this year. Our first time seeing Arch out there. So we will see. Probably not a good thing if you're a Longhorns fan to see Texas number one, because now you got a target on your back all season long. That's the thing that sucks about being in the AP or being the number one team to start the season. You're always defending. You got nowhere else to go. There's no like if you're Alabama sitting down there, you're sitting pretty because now you got room to climb up the ranks, right? Ohio State's got room to climb up the hell. I mean, let's be honest. Ohio State wins week one. They're gonna be number one. But it's gonna be tough. But first time in college football history, the number one ranked team to start the season isn't dog on the road, or is a dog in week one. None of the top five will be there in the end. What? You don't think? I think Penn State overrated. Clemson a little overrated. Oregon probably a little overrated. LSU might have the best quarterback in the country. Miami, I think, is a little overrated. A lot of SEC teams in here. Indiana, definitely overrated. They always throw in Texas A&M. Texas A&M always has to be in that 19 to 25 range. They have to throw A&M in there. It's just how it is. Just how, where are the Cougs? Where are my Cougs? Come on now. Ranks don't matter when you're taking 12 teams for the playoff. Yeah, that's true. We'll see. We'll see. This thing is definitely going to be a little mixed up. Michigan's pretty high up there, I think. A lot of expectations there for Michigan, but it's fun. It's fun to see the rankings because that means college football is back. Love to see it. Love to see it. All right, let's get into the big news of the day. Let's get into the big news of the day. Here we go. Well, the UFC has announced that they are going to a new streaming platform. The last 5 years, they've been on ESPN. As you all know, you have to have ESPN Plus to watch some of the fight nights, and then obviously to be able to buy the pay-per-view card over on ESPN. That is going to be no more, as the UFC has reached an agreement, a 7-year, $7.7 billion with a B dollar deal with Paramount. $7.7 billion to stream on Paramount. And that deal is worth more than what Paramount is worth today. Although I would argue with this purchase, Paramount's value probably went way up. But I saw that they had a market capital of 6.6 billion or something like that. Either way, they've gotten into the fighting business, and UFC is moving on. This will start at the beginning of 2026. All UFC streams events will be streamed on Paramount Plus. And Dana White came out yesterday saying they want to do 4 big cards a year. And one of them will be, of course, the 4th of July card at the White House. He had confirmed that with us. But the biggest news from this is the UFC is finally moving away from the pay-per-view model. That is exciting for us fans. Yes, with no extra charge. For the $12.99 a month, you can get Paramount Plus and all the great stuff, the great shows and stuff that Paramount Plus has. They actually, Taylor Sheridan stuff is all on Paramount Plus, and they have some of the best original content. You got Landman, you got Mobland. Mobland has been my favorite show of the year. If you haven't seen it, I recommend going and checking that out. That's a good one, Mobland. They've got Tulsa King over there. They got a lot of good original content on Paramount Plus. And now, along with some of the NFL games you are able to see over on Paramount Plus, you will be able to see, starting in 2026, every single UFC card. They're going to have 13 numbered events, so 13 main UFC, like normal pay-per-views that you would see throughout the year, but you don't have to pay the $80 pay-per-view price. You just have to pay your $12.99 to get Paramount Plus. You can watch all the fight nights, all the main cards. And Dana said there's going to be 4 big cards. You know, they love the International Fight Week. They have the big event at the White House. they're still the main UFC event, but they usually stack a couple cards a year. He says it's going to be 4. That is exciting. That is a big win for us fans, and a big win for the UFC. I think this is a good deal for everyone. Big win for Paramount because they're going to get a lot more signups, a lot more subscribers. Big win for us fans because now we don't have to chill out over $1,100 a year to watch every single UFC fight. I'll be honest, I maybe only buy one a year now because the card's got to be worth it. And a lot of the older fighters that I enjoyed watching are retired or about to retire or washed up, and some of these cards just aren't worth getting. They aren't worth getting, but now you don't have to worry about that. And this is a big win for the UFC because not only are they going to get that, over $1 billion a year from Paramount Plus, which with ESPN, they were getting $500 million. So they over doubled what they're getting contract wise with streaming service. But now they're going to be in more people's homes. More people are going to tune into the UFC. The diehards like myself and you guys that love UFC and have been an MMA fan for a while, we're going to be there no matter what. Now they're going to get some eyeballs at people that wouldn't normally tune in because they're not going to pay $80 for this UFC event. But then it's going to be Saturday night and hey, I have Paramount Plus. All the big football games are done. I'm just hanging out. Maybe the missus went to bed early. Let's throw on this UFC card. Let's see what this hype's all about. They're going to get a lot more eyeballs, which is great for everyone. It's great for everyone. Brendan Schaub, though. Shout out Brendan Schaub. Ex-UFC fighter. Now he's a podcaster / comedian. I'll be honest. I think Brendan is way funnier on a podcast than his actual stand-up. It's no shot at him. There's just some people that are like, they're funnier to hear. I even think, although he's really good at stand-up, Chris D'Elia, I like him in podcast form than his stand-up. His stand-up's good, but he's just, when he just riffs on a podcast, especially when he goes on someone else's show, I think it's funnier. But Brendan Schaub thinks this is terrible for the fighters, and I strongly disagree with him on this. I agree with a lot of what he's saying, but I actually think this is a good deal for the UFC fighters. And I'll explain why. But first, let's listen to Brendan and what his take is on this. And I will be pausing this before you guys get mad at me. I will be pausing this just in case, so no copyright issues and whatnot. Not that I think that they would claim it or anything like that, but you never know. You never know. So we will be pausing and reacting to this.
UFC signs a $7.7 billion. That's with a B, y'all. 7.7.
I didn't copy that from him, by the way. I forgot he even said that. God, great minds think alike. How about that? What up, Yaz? Yaz Mox? How we doing? Good morning. And Patriot says, is this an ad? I wish it's not an ad. I wish they'd pay me. I sell the shit out of this for them. Paramount Plus, reach out to me. I know you got some money. Might not have much now that you blew your wad on the UFC, but if you want to come sponsor the show, I will pump your stuff, get you signups. You just let me know.
Billion broadcast deal with Paramount. Pay-per-view model will end in 2026. Because the UFC, when they had a pay-per-view model, were forced to build stars in order to get money based off pay-per-view. They got rid of that model because they're done building stars. Those days.
I agree with them that with the pay-per-view model to sell pay-per-views, you had to make stars. That's why Conor McGregor blew up and was so huge, and that they pumped Conor McGregor. One, he's just entertaining. Whether he's polarizing, whether you like him or hate him, you tuned in. You either liked him because you want to see him win, or you tuned in because you want to see him get his ass kicked, right? But that's how you would sell cards. There's a reason why Conor McGregor is a majority of the top 5 UFC or even top 10 UFC all-time pay-per-view buys, because people tuned in. They built him up as a star. You would argue today he would sell the most, even though he hasn't fought since 2021. He'd probably break one of the records if they were to do a pay-per-view model with Conor McGregor, because people just want to tune in and see him get his ass kicked. But he's right. Now they don't have to build stars.
These are done. It's not good. None of this is good. It's good for Dana. It's good for TKO. It's good for the shareholders. This is all bad for the fighters in every facet. Now you might say, well, they're going to get more exposure being on Paramount Plus and people don't have to pay for it. You're right. But remember, more exposure doesn't mean more money.
That's where I disagree. Everything he's saying there is correct, except for the part about the fighters and why it's bad for them and why more exposure isn't actually good for them and doesn't translate to more money. Yes, it does. If you look at the fighters as a whole, it's hard enough to get into the UFC, let alone try to become a star and a champion. But to make the big money right now, there's only a handful of people in the UFC that make the big money, of the fighters that make good money, life-changing money, right? Unless you're unless you're one of these guys that is really good, not good enough to ever win the championship, but you're good, serviceable, top 5 in your division. And we've seen this with some of the fighters. They'll fight 5-6 times a year. 1, because they can do it, and 2, because they need to fight to keep getting those paychecks. Whereas when you're a UFC champion, that's where you make the bank. You're a UFC champion, you only got to fight twice a year. Why? 1, your contract, you're getting paid a lot more money in your contract, but 2, you get those pay-per-view points. You get a percentage of the pay-per-view, you get a percentage of all those buys, and that's where you start making the millions. Now that's going away, and some of the champions, I was listening to Tom Aspinall talk to Ariel Helwani yesterday. They don't know how that's going to affect things. Obviously the UFC is going to have to come to these guys and work out a deal to get these guys compensated, but the champions are going to be compensated. They're going to get more money. It's just they're going to find a way to replace what those pay-per-view points would be, and those champions are going to be okay. All right, they're going to get paid. But this is great for the average fighter, because with the old model, you had to be champ to make the big bucks. Now you don't. Now you just got to be entertaining. You could be a guy up and coming and start taking off on social media. Obviously, you got to go out and win, but now more people are going to see you. Now you have a chance to lure in more fans. The more fans you get, the bigger you can make your social media presence, the more deals you're going to get. We see this all the time. Look at the WNBA. Does anyone think Sophie Cunningham is the best WNBA player? No. She's mid at best if you actually look at her skills on the court. But what did she do? She took advantage of a situation. She knows how to market, and she's off and running and making more money than she ever would through the WNBA by doing marketing deals, because she became a fan favorite. And she doesn't have to be the best player to get those deals. Now she's got a deal with Arby's. She wore a shirt that says "Hot girls eat Arby's," "Hot chicks eat Arby's," or something like that, right? She's all over the place. She's ran with this dildo gate stuff, right? She's a fan favorite. I would never buy a WNBA jersey, but if I was forced to buy one, I would buy Sophie Cunningham, because she's likable. And she's not the biggest star. Now, a lot of these fighters, they don't have to be champion. They don't have to be the biggest star. They just have to take a moment, become a fan favorite, know how to market yourself on social media, and you're going to make a ton of money outside of the UFC. I think this is better for the average fighter than it is for, than the old model where only the top people really got the big bucks. Now your average fighter, your really good fighter, your top 5 fighter is going to get paid. They're going to get sponsorship deals more so than they would in the old model. And they're going to have more eyeballs on them. That's why it's good to have more eyeballs, because then you're going to get more fans, new fans, tuning into some of these fighters that they normally wouldn't have tuned into. So I think this is going to be great for the fighters as a whole. The guys at the top are going to be taken care of no matter what. But more exposure to more people, more chances to go viral and become a fan favorite will lead to better opportunities for these fighters and more money and more sponsorship contracts. So that's where I disagree with Brendan here about this being bad for the fighters. I think if you're looking at the fighters as a whole, this is a great opportunity. Now first of all, you got to show up, and then you got to know how to market. That's on you. All right. And if you don't know how to market, you're not good at any of that stuff, well, then you better hope you become champion. All right. You better hope you become champion. You got to do something polarizing. Whether it's you're a likable fan favorite or you're a heel and people hate you and just want to tune in and see you lose. Either way, this is a great opportunity for all fighters.
And now we're here. And they've doubled their revenue. But the fighters are getting paid exactly the fucking same. Okay. Okay.
Contracts are contracts. Those are already signed. So I get what he's saying there. UFC's double the revenue and the fighters are getting paid the same. That's going to change. New contracts are going to come up. There's going to be renegotiations. Fighters are going to see a bump in pay raise. Guaranteed. But as I said, more exposure is a good thing. It gives more opportunities to more fighters to make a living outside of the UFC. That's just my thoughts on it. I'm curious what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Boom. Sophie and Sydney both have great genes. Yes, they do. Welcome into everyone that's new. Glad to have you in. This is a Sports Morning Espresso Shot. I see the mommy milkers dropped in the chat.
You got some tickle bitties and you don't know how to swing? Well, I'm here to help you. Next, you want to tuck your right arm and lay your left arm on top of that mommy milker. Bombs away?
Bombs away indeed. Hope you guys are having a good morning. Thanks for tuning in to the most professional, on-time, non-clickbait sports show on the internet. We got a lot to talk about. Let's move on to the next topic. And the next topic is Jon Gruden got a big win. I was surprised by this in the state of Nevada. If you know the state of Nevada, the politicians there, very, very corrupt, kind of like everywhere else in our country, but definitely there. But Jon Gruden taking on the big bad NFL, the Shield, who seems to be able to do anything they want. But he's got a strong case, strong enough that the Nevada Supreme Court has ruled in favor of former Raiders head coach Jon Gruden in his appeal against the NFL. Gruden is suing the NFL because, if you remember, he got fired by the Raiders. Well, was forced to resign because the NFL, he alleges that Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, and the NFL improperly leaked his emails, which there was some private stuff said there where he used some not politically correct terms in those emails, and they leaked it to damage his reputation and ultimately get him fired or forced to resign. He will now get discovery and get his day in court. A lot of these situations, these disputes with the NFL, they have to go to arbitration. But John was able to get the Supreme Court, the Nevada Supreme Court, to rule in his favor. And instead of going to arbitration, he is going to go to court and be able to present his case to a jury. Now, the only step left is the actual Supreme Court. But who knows if they're going to take up this case? I highly doubt it. Now, I'm no lawyer or expert when it comes to legal matters, but Supreme Court takes up very little cases. Now it's the NFL. They can grease some palms. Who knows? But if they couldn't grease the palms of the Nevada Supreme Court, I don't know how they're going to be able to do it with the actual Supreme Court of the United States. So we will see, but I wanted to ask Grok about this to see what Grok says. He says the Nevada Supreme Court ruling on August 11th allows for former Raiders coach Jon Gruden to pursue a lawsuit against the NFL, alleging Commissioner Roger Goodell orchestrated the leak of Gruden's emails. That was the other thing about it. The reason why he has such a strong case is because he's like, listen, you guys have my emails, but I know you guys have everyone else's emails. And this was when Gruden was back with the Washington Redskins. When he was back with the Redskins, they leaked those emails, not the ones that he has while he was the head coach of the Raiders the second time through. They leaked those ones, but they didn't leak anyone else's emails. Anyone else in the league. And he knows that they all are saying the same shit that he says, but they didn't leak those out there. Of course not. No. You think Roger Goodell's ever said something bad in an email? Probably. But they leaked his emails, which contained offensive language from 2011 to 2018, leading to his 2021 resignation. This decision overturns a prior arbitration clause, citing unconditionally due to Goodell's potential self-judgment, as detailed in an 8-page opinion by NBC Sports. That's the thing that why he had to get out of arbitration, because ultimately at the end of the day, it was going to be Roger Goodell's decision on whether he had a case or not, which is a pretty big conflict of interest considering the fact that Goodell's the commissioner of the NFL and the lawsuits against him and the league. Of course, Goodell's going to protect the league. Gruden's case hinges on emails uncovered during a Washington Commanders, at the time Redskins, workplace investigation revealing racist, sexist, and homophobic content, which the NFL reportedly used strategically, a move some legal analysts suggest could expose deeper league corruption if discovery proceeds. I hope we get it. Historical context shows Gruden's successful tenure with the Raiders and Buccaneers, including a Super Bowl win, contrasts sharply with his abrupt exit, raising questions about the NFL's handling of the internal disputes. With no peer-reviewed studies yet available, but public sentiment on X suggests a potential shift in league accountability. I think we all know what the league is. We all know they're not squeaky clean up there. We know it's dirty. We know they've all said some things that would not be politically correct. And they targeted John Gruden. They wanted him out of there. Why? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out in Discovery. Maybe he pissed some people off. Gruden's a big personality, not afraid to speak his mind, as we can see from those leaked emails. But this is huge. Big win for John Gruden. He has said he wants to coach again one day. He doesn't care if he's coaching high school football. He does want to get back to coaching at some point. I love him with Barstool right now. I think he's a great content creator. Love what he's doing over there. I think he should keep doing that, but his passion is coaching. So we will see, but a big win. Hopefully we get Discovery on this, and hopefully this goes to court. I doubt it actually gets there. I bet there's going to be a settlement. The NFL does not want this leaked. Does not want this leaked. They'll do everything they can to avoid having to go to a jury trial. But right now, that's where we're headed. So we'll continue to follow this story. Let me know what you think about this story. Comment below. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Boom. What up, Yaz? Yaz Mox? How we doing? Grass Guy says he got blackballed. We all know he got blackballed. Paige helps us with our golf swing. Yes, she does. Yes, she does. John Gruden. John freaking Gruden. What else have we got going on in the sports world? This was funny. I saw this yesterday, and this is how every husband feels. He says, so on the weekend of November 1st, we have a stacked college football card. There's a couple of them. I think there's one in October as well. That's a pretty stacked card. Week 1 stacked too. Week 1, we get Texas, Ohio State, LSU, Clemson, and there's another one. I'm forgetting, but we got another good game that week too. But look at this. The weekend of November 1st, we got Penn State, Ohio State, Miami, SMU, Arizona State, Iowa State, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Texas Tech, Kansas State, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Georgia, Florida. Whew. And this guy says, I fucking dare my wife to ask me to do some dumb shit on November 1st. I already put in my card to my wife. Said, hey, just go ahead. I'm busy, so don't plan on clear your schedule. Don't plan on me doing anything on November 1st. I'll watch the kids if you want, but we're gonna be watching right in front of the TV because we got college football, big games all day. I'm gonna be busy. I thought that was funny though, because he talks tough. Every husband, we talk tough, but then when November 1st comes around, if the wife needs something done, she's gonna get her way. What else do we have? So in practice, Pro Bowl guard Landon Dickerson was carted off a couple days ago. I think it was over the weekend. Was carted off of the field. Couldn't put any pressure on his leg. He got, the test results came in. Looks like he suffered a meniscus injury to his right knee. He's getting additional options to determine the next course of action. His return for the season is unknown. So we know he's not going to be there to start the season. If it is just a meniscus, that's great. Because one, you can either do surgery and get it repaired, and the recovery is pretty quick. We're talking, 6-8 weeks. Same timetable if it doesn't need surgery, because a lot of times the meniscus can tear or have a slight tear. If it has a slight tear in it, it will heal on its own. So sucks for the Eagles, who already lost one of their guards in the offseason and now lost their Pro Bowl guard. I think he ranked the 13th on PFF's ranking. He was the 13th best guard in the league. So that's a huge blow. But either way, it does seem at least they should get him back the second half of the season. So it's not a season-ending injury. So that's at least something to be hopeful if you are an Eagles fan. Patriots loving this because it's going to help them help his Cowboys in week 1, but the Cowboys in week 1 need a lot more help than just a guard going down. Speaking of Patriots, says, cheers, y'all getting in the boat. Okay, have a good one, buddy. Have a good one. Go catch some fish. 18 days left. That's right, 18 days left till we get college football week 1. Can't wait. Shout out to you guys. Thanks for everyone who likes and shares these clips and stuff from the show that I post. I appreciate that. It helps people find the channel. You guys are the real MVPs. Okay, that's all I got for news, it looks like there. Let's check. Alabama has named Simpson as their starting quarterback. Cool. Oh, what's this? Steelers Hayward hints at sitting out into season over contract. What? Longtime Pittsburgh Steelers defensive captain Cameron Hayward. He's in the middle of a hold-in. Strongly suggests Monday he would be willing to miss regular season games as he seeks a renegotiation on his contract. My goal is to be out here, and I don't know what's going to happen. If I had to be honest with myself, to be ready for every option, and it has gone the way I wanted it to go. No, if it did, I would be out there playing and practicing. But I'd like to put this in the rearview mirror and worry about ball and worry about the Jets in week 1. Huh? He's going to get paid. God, 36 years old. He signed a 2-year, $29 million extension with the Steelers in September last year, putting him under contract through the 26th season. His contract's $14.5 million average value is ranked 23rd for interior defensive lineman. I mean, you're getting paid some good money there, man. $14.5 million at age 36. I mean, how much more do you want? He'll get paid. He'll get a little raise, and he'll be out there. I wouldn't worry about it. A lot of these guys, that's what they do. Myles Garrett got cited again, another traffic ticket for going 100 miles in a 60 zone. I think someone said it's like his seventh or ninth ticket. I can't remember what it was. Pulled over at 2 a.m., given a $200 fine. Huh. That's all it says. Well, I don't know why anyone's surprised by that, but here we are. What up, B-Hole Patrol? He's here. Says show B-Hole. That's right. Good morning, sir. Good morning. Let's check out the scores from yesterday. Let's recap some baseball. All right, we're going to recap baseball, and then we're going to look at the betting lines for today. The Phillies and the Reds. Phillies get a win, 4-1 victory over the Reds yesterday. Yankees, look at that, minus 180 favorites yesterday. Finally find a win as they crush 4 home runs and get a 6-2 victory over the Twins. They're battling there with the Rangers. The Rangers didn't get swept over the weekend. They would actually be the wild card team in that last wild card spot. But the Yankees, much needed win there for New York. Tigers get 2-1 victory over the White Sox. Brewers, the hottest team in baseball, continue their streak with their 10th straight victory, 7-1 victory over the Pirates. Royals defeat the Nationals 7-4. What's wrong with speeding? I drive 90 and a 20, but only in schools. Gosh, that's terrible. That's terrible. Cardinals get a 3-2 victory over the Rockies. Rangers, speaking of those Rangers, battling with the Yankees, keeping up keeping pace with them. They go to extra innings and get a win, 7-6 victory over the Diamondbacks. Astros, another 7-6 victory here over the Red Sox. Angels defeat the Dodgers 7-4. Padres, Jamie's Padres came through last night, 4-1 victory over the Giants, and you got the Rays, 7-4 victory over the A's. Let's go ahead and take a look at today's betting lines and see what we got. Mariners, Orioles. Going to start things off today. Orioles plus 140 home dogs. Mariners minus 165. Mariners now the third favorite to win the World Series. How crazy is that? Sharp money and big money on the Mariners. 77% of the bets, 89% of the money on the Mariners to get it done today in Baltimore. B-Hole Patrol says he's concerned about the Reds. Oh, boy. I wonder why. This is going to be funny. Marlins and the Guardians. Guardians minus 140 home favorites. Plus 125 on the comeback for the Fish. Sharp money on the Guardians. Big money on the Marlins with 36% of the bets, 60% of the overall money on the Fish. Phillies and the Reds. Reds plus 125 home dogs. Phillies minus 150 road favorites. Sharp money and big money back in the Reds today. Nothing to be concerned about there. B-Hole Patrol. 23% of the bets, 55% of the money is on Cincinnati. Twins and the Yankees. Yankees minus 220 favorites. I still think there's value on the Twins. You can't trust this Yankee team. Sharp money is on the Twins at plus 180. 84% of the overall money is on New York. Cubs and the Blue Jays. Blue Jays minus 120 home favorites. Cubbies plus 105 on the comeback. Sharp money. Action Network expert likes the Cubs, but we got big money on the Blue Jays. 72% of the bets, 84% of the money is back in Toronto. Braves, Mets. Mets minus 140 home favorites. Braves plus 120 on the comeback. Sharp money and big money on the Mets with 69% of the bets. 85% of the money on New York. Tigers and the White Sox. Tigers minus 180 road favorites. White Sox plus 150 home dogs. Sharp money and big money on the Tigers. 80% of the bets, 93% of the money back in Detroit. Nationals and the Royals. Royals minus 170 home favorites. Nationals plus 145 road dogs. 84% of the money is on Kansas City. Pirates and the Brewers. Can the Brewers get 11 in a row? Betting market says yes. Minus 115 home favorites. Even money on the Pirates. You got sharp money. Action Network expert likes the Pirates today. I wonder if that means. Oh, yes, Paul Skeens is on the bump today. I don't know if you can trust the Pirates, though. Skeens on the bump? I don't know. They don't usually do well when he pitches. He pitches well, but they don't. They don't usually win those. Can Paul Skeens get some run support today? We'll see. Rockies and the Cardinals. Cardinals minus 210. Home favorites. Rockies plus 190 on the comeback. Sharp money on the Cardinals. 85% of the overall money is on St. Louis. Diamondbacks and the Rangers. Rangers minus 145. Home favorites. Diamondbacks plus 125. Big money and Action Network expert likes the Diamondbacks today with 35% of the bet. 70% of the overall money is on Arizona. You got the Red Sox and the Astros. Coin flip game here. Sharp money and big money on the Red Sox. 73% of the overall money back in Boston. Dodgers and the Angels. Dodgers minus 175 road favorites. Angels plus 150 home dogs. Sharp money on the Dodgers there. 82% of the overall money back in L.A. Padres and the Giants. Giants minus 125 home favorites. Padres plus 110 on the comeback. Sharp money, big money, and an Action Network expert. All three signals lined up on the Padres. 48% of the bets, 60% of the overall money back in San Diego. In your night game tonight, Rays and A's. A's minus 115. Rays minus 105. Coin flip game there. Money is split even 50-50. We'll see if the Rays can get another victory over the A's tonight. And there you have it. That is your MLB daily recap and preview from a betting standpoint. Let me know what your best bet is today. Comment below on this video. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Brewers extend win streaks as supporting. Ooh. Have you made any WNBA dildo wagers? No, I haven't. I've looked at the markets. I haven't. Talked about it on Sports Wars, though. It's crazy. Now we have multiple dildos thrown in the same game. It's wild. But I will be right back, okay?
Any triple in the series? Yes. I almost would have bet no triple plus 125.
That's a good. I would bet that.
I got to leave these in the little list over here so I can remember to bet these.
That's a good bet.
I am going to bet that for sure, 100%.
Because how often does a triple happen? And two, most of the time it's just someone taking a base on a throw.
This is my favorite bet in the entire World Series.
I do like that.
No triples in the World Series plus 125. That's my favorite bet in the entire World Series.
A few moments later.
Think about three as Verdugo can't play it cleanly. Freeman's into third. A base hit turns into 3. Yeah! Who's retarded now? Yeah!
Did that go the way you thought it was going to go? Nope.
Okay, I'm back. One thing I wanted to look at, we got NFL preseason week 2. I wanted to look at this before we get into the Broncos. Because one of the big takeaways from week 1 from a betting standpoint was how many of these games went over. 14 out of 16 games went over. We don't count the Detroit Atlanta game because they didn't play the 55 minutes necessary. So if you count the Hall of Fame game, 14-2 to the over, which we know the public loves betting the over. But why is this? I think it's because we know defenses are pretty vanilla. They're not going to show their hand in the preseason. And offenses, I think a lot of these coaches are just trying to do high percentage plays to get some confidence with their offenses. I think that's why we're seeing more scoring. But also, one thing you got to look at, if you look at a lot of the teams that had joint practices, I think every single one of those teams that had joint practices went over. And that's because, I mean, you're getting to see the defense that you're going to face in the game during practice that week. So I think that gives a huge edge. So I think we got to look at some of the teams this week that have joint practices and look at the over, maybe look at the over. But also what we got to look at is, where do these lines open up? I think if you like the under, I think the under will be sharp in week 2, but you got to wait until game day, till right before kickoff to bet the under. And we just got to watch it. So we got to look and see. Like we can see right here, the reason I want to look at it was like the Titans-Falcons opened up at 34.5, and now it's up to 38. I feel like we missed the boat on the over, so we wait. Hope the public, after winning big with the overs last weekend, comes in and pushes up. Maybe we get to 39.5, and then we can bet under, right? But we can take a look. 60% of the money is already on the over. Sharp money on the over. Big money on the under, though. I don't know. I feel like not blindly betting every under, but I think there's good spots where we can bet the under. Chiefs-Seahawks has moved 5 points. Patriots-Vikings has moved 3 points. Dolphins-Lions only moved 2 points. 2 points for the Panthers and the Texans. All these games have moved towards the over. 4-point move for the Browns and Eagles. 3-point move for the Packers, Colts. 3-point move for the 49ers, Raiders. 3.5 point move, almost 4 for the Giants, Jets. That's gross. Bucks, Steelers has moved 4 points. Ravens, Cowboys has moved 3 points. I don't know. I feel like there's going to be a good spot. All these totals have moved up in every game. So I think we keep an eye on this. And I think the sharp side, the right thing to do would be betting the under in specific spots. And I would definitely look for unders in games where teams did not have joint practices. Because it seems to be the joint practices might be leading to some of these overs. I don't know, but we will see. We will see. Buku says 4 of my 5 wins last weekend were on the over. Most opened at 34.5 and moved to 37.5 or 38, and I still went over. Money on the floor. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying we got to be careful with that this week. I think there's going to be some extra value on the under this week. Not blindly betting them all, although I'm guessing if you blindly betted all the unders right before the game started, you probably will, more likely than not, end up profitable. But I think if we can pick and choose our spots, it's not going to go 14-2 to the over again. Highly unlikely. Someone out there is a millionaire because they bet a toss dildo was green. So that's the thing about the betting markets. Like, you can't get that much money down. Like the site I use, Bet Online, that has the most options there, the most you can put down is $25 per bet. But you know where they did make a bunch of money? Right before this all started, allegedly there's this crypto group that is behind all this. They created the green dildo meme coin, right? And its trade handle is dildo. but it's called Green Dildo Coin, and they created that the day before the first dildo was tossed. How about that? Those guys have made a lot of money, and if you bought in on that coin, you made a lot. You've made a lot of money so far. I know it's not financial advice. Be cautious with that kind of stuff. But that's where the real money is. These meme coins. When you know something's going to happen and it's probably going to take off, like it did in the WNBA, played right into their hands. They are handling this terribly. Terribly. But yeah, I'll let you know what I end up taking on some of these unders. Looks like we got 2 games on Friday that we can test this theory out. We can test this theory out. Okay. Let's head over to Denver and the Broncos. All right, today we're going to be covering the Denver Broncos, previewing their upcoming season. High expectations, big expectations from Bo Nix in year 2. And this Broncos team, they were kind of a surprise last season, making the playoffs. Everyone's a little darling this year. It seems like everyone's picking the Broncos. A lot of people have them as a long shot to win the division over the Chiefs. Going to be interesting, but this is coming from Warren Sharp's book. You should go check it out. You can buy the PDF version like this on his site, or you can get yourself a copy of this big old thick book right here. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. Look at that. Did that turn to the Broncos? No, Dolphins. I'll say this. All orange. But yeah, go check it out. Not paid to say any of that. Not paid for any of this. I just think it's a great resource, and I want to bring you guys some good resources to use. If you're a football junkie, this is the book for you, especially if you're betting on football this season. You want to have this at your disposal to help you win some of your wagers this year. This is going to be year 3 for Sean Payton and his crew, bringing back same offense and defensive coordinators. Season win total 9.5, very, very high for the Broncos. 10-7 last year, 8-9 in the year before in Sean Payton's first year. Remember, they got to that rocky start in his first year, and then they got hot. But yeah, they found themselves a quarterback, it seems like, in Bo Nix. Let's take a look at their schedule. One thing we like to look at is rest edge down here, the rest edge. So they have 3 games with rest disadvantage and only 2 games with a rest advantage. Not too terrible. They do, let's see, so they have a Monday Night Football game week 4 against the Bengals. Week 6, they play in an international game, and they're choosing not to take a bye. So they'll play in an international game, and then they have to come back home and play the New York Giants. So that'll be something interesting. They don't have a bye until week 12. So maybe we got to keep an eye on them weeks 7 through 10 or 7 through 11, because after that big international trip and then coming back home, although they do get 2 home stints here, maybe that's where they get a little bit tired. I don't know. We'll see. They play Thursday Night Football week 10 against the Raiders, and then face the Chiefs coming off a bye. That's not easy, but at least they get them home. Overall, looks like a fairly decent schedule. Nothing too crazy. Could be worse. We've seen a lot worse schedules this year. Some of the key players they lost. Cody Barton is gone. Zach Wilson is now a Miami Dolphin. How are they ever going to survive without Zach Wilson? There's always someone like that I see in here. I'm like, oh, I forgot you were even on the Broncos last season. Traymon Smith is a Texan now. Javonte Williams is a Cowboy. Riley Dixon's a Buccaneer. Little Jordan Humphrey, he's a Giant. He gone. And some other guys. Key players they got in free agency. They signed Talanoy Hufanga, a safety. They paid him $13 million a year. Evan Ingram is in Denver now. I think another good signing if he can stay healthy. He's had some struggles ever since the Super Bowl of the 49ers a couple years ago. But Dre Greenlaw got paid, and he is now a Denver Bronco. That's huge for their defense. They signed Sam Ehlinger as a backup quarterback and Sam Franklin as a safety. Players they drafted, they had a few draft picks, but 20th overall, they took a cornerback, Jahdae Barron out of Texas. I thought that was a good pick. That was a good pick by them. So Jahdae Barron with their first round pick. Second round pick, they took a running back, RJ Harvey out of UCF. That's an interesting pick. Third round, they had a couple of picks. Wide receiver Pat Bryant out of Illinois and defensive end Salvion Jones out of LSU. With a fourth round pick, they took linebacker Quay Robinson out of Alabama. So they addressed their needs, They took some, got a quarterback and a linebacker defensive end there. And then on the offensive side of the ball, they got a new running back and a new wide receiver. So nothing flashy there. Just seems to be addressing need. And that's what, when you find your quarterback, that's very, very helpful when it comes to drafting, because now you don't have to worry about the most important part. Well, let's go ahead and see. Let's get into this. The 24 Broncos outperformed my expectations. The scary part is it could have been even better, and that's why the 25 Broncos have so much loftier expectations in the betting markets. 24 Broncos were expected to win 5.5 games. This year, they're expected to win 9.5. Last year's Broncos were favored in 2 of their 17 games. Now, this year, they're favored in 12 of their 17 games. Whew. With a 9.5 win total, too. What does that tell you? What is Vegas trying to tell you there? Before we get into whether they can meet those extremely high expectations, let's discuss how they could have been even better. First, they went just 1-6 in one-score games last year, winning 14% of one-score games, ranks number 31 of 32 teams last season. Only the Giants were worse. Sorry, Grass Guy. So they were unlucky in one-score games, yet they still won 10 games. That is crazy. Want to hear a crazy stat? I don't know if you're ready. Make sure you're sitting down. Ooh, what is it? If every one-score loss was a one-score win and vice versa, the Broncos would have been 15-2 last year. Whew. Obviously, that would have been the best record in the NFL. Flip the one-score results for every team, and the top teams would have been Broncos at 15-2. Bucks, Ravens, and Bengals would have been 12-5. Bills, Packers, Chargers would have been 11-6. No other team would have been close to the Broncos. The Raiders, still terrible at 5-2. Why do we got to throw shots at the Raiders? Raiders catching strays in here just for no reason. Grass Guy says, trust me, I'm aware. Okay. So that's why I would say it sounds scary, but the Broncos seasons with a rookie quarterback starting every game could have been even better. Now when I say the Broncos outperformed my expectations, I don't mean I thought they'd be bad. In fact, 24 preview book, I noted that Sean Payton made about comments Sean Payton made about giving a young quarterback a strong support system, including the run game and defense. I noted that they would need to step up defensively, and they could in 24, considering expecting them to face the NFL's 4th easiest schedule on offense. And that defense did play lights out last year. Lights out. They won 10 games last year by just one of those but just one of those wins was by fewer than 8 points, which is a wild stat. So 9 out of their 10 games they won by more than one score. That is crazy. In fact, they have just 10% of your total wins be by one score is unusual for a team with double-digit wins. The Chiefs won 15 games last year, and 11 of those were one-score games. The Commanders won 12 games, and 8 of those were one score. How rare is this? The 23 49ers, 12 wins, 1 by 1 score. The 21 Bills, 11 wins, 0 by 1 score. And the 08 Ravens, 11 wins, 1 by 1 score, were the only team since at least 2000 to win double-digit games with 15% or fewer coming by one score margin. So, I mean, they were a solid team. Real quick, we skipped over it, but I want to look. Last year, their straight-up record was 10-7, but their ATS record was 12-5. Look at that. ATS as a favorite, they went a perfect 8-0 when they were favored. How about that? ATS as an underdog, they were 4-5. ATS at home, they were 6-2. ATS on the road, they were 6-3. 8-0 as a favorite last year. That's not going to happen again this year. Yo, what up, Tommy? How we doing? Good morning. Good morning. Okay. When the Broncos won, they really won. No team won more games last year by 14 plus points. By 14 or more points than the Broncos did. They won 7 of those. 7 of their 10 wins came by 14 or more. That is insane. And that's with the rookie QB starting week 1 of the season and 0 veterans starting any game. And think about the way Bo Nix had to start the season. Week 1 in Seattle. Mike McDonald's new defense. Week 2 in Pittsburgh. That tough pass rush. Week 3 in Tampa Bay against Todd Bowles' tough defense that always gives quarterbacks fits. I'm pretty sure I took the Bucks in that one, and I think the Broncos covered. Week 4 against the Jets. with the number 2 pass defense. 3 road games in 4 weeks, and against those defense coaches and their defense pedigrees. Brutal selling it short. By the season's end, Nix had played the NFL's 4th toughest schedule of defenses and the 6th toughest schedule of pass defenses. Against a tough schedule like that, it's hard to envision a young quarterback winning many games. Plus, remember, they play the Chiefs twice. That's no walk in the park. That's crazy. All those, and they didn't even talk about the Chiefs at all. Before we get to the massive change the defense made, let's talk about the offensive line. Last year, Denver had the number 1 ranked blocking offensive line. That will help any quarterback out, especially a young rookie quarterback. Number 1 run block, number 1 pass block. Javonte Williams was number 1 in short yardage conversion rate, number 3 in 3+ yards before contact, number 5 in yards before contact per rush, number 5 in lowest stuff rate. Despite running behind the number 1 ranked offensive line, Williams ranked 45 of 47 running backs in rush yards, 46 of 47% of rushes gained more than expected. That's probably why he's not on the team anymore, and they drafted a guy out of UCF. Here we go. Here's why you should bet under 9.5 wins on the Denver Broncos for the upcoming 2025 season. There's optimism for the young offense to take another step in 25, but Denver would have to benefit from adding a veteran star at wide receiver. Marvin Mims was productive when given targets, but only played on 27% of the offensive snaps. Cortland Sutton's coming off a good year, and Evan Ingram should help out the tight end, but a bigger addition than third rounder Pat Bryant would have been welcome. The Broncos face a tough division with the Chargers and Chiefs, and they will be up against a slightly harder schedule in 25. They struggled against AFC playoff teams last year, losing to the Steelers, Chargers, Ravens, Chiefs, and then the Chargers again. Their only wins were over playoff teams came against the Bucs in Week 3 and the Chiefs team that was resting starters in Week 18. Despite big improvements in 25, Denver was still behind the real contenders. All right. That's fair. Sporting says, do anything with season over for NFL, any special pools or contests or for just game on. We will have our own group. I don't have the details out yet, but we will have something before the season starts. I'll let you know. Don't worry. I'll post it everywhere. The Broncos were 1-6 in 1-score games last season. Part of the reasons could be because of the inexperienced rookie quarterback. The other part could be pure luck. Bo Nix had a solid rookie campaign. He improved as the season progressed and is likely will improve this season as well. This is, by the way, the argument of why you should bet over 9.5 wins for the Broncos. If the Broncos pull out a couple more of those close games, they're sure to go over their projected win total. I mean, yeah, they were 1-6 last year in 1-score games. That's going to flip. Not flip, but that's going to even out. I mean, hell, if they could have just went 500 in those, or added 2 more wins to that, they would have been a 12-win team last season. Shout out to Tommy. Tommy, thank you for reposting the stream on X. Let's go. If you guys can, repost this wherever you're watching. Share it out there. Let everyone know where they can find the most professional, on-time, non-clickbait sports show on the internet. That's a big shout out. Are you leaving, Mom? Good luck to you too, sir. Have a good day. Denver had one of the best defenses in the league last season. They further solidified this group with the signings of linebacker Dre Greenlaw, which I think is a huge get. He's just got to stay healthy. And safety Talano Hufanga. I cannot say that name. The 2 veteran stars joined a unit that was top 5 against run and featured the defensive player of the year in the secondary. If all goes well, this could become one of the best defenses in the league. It probably will. It's probably going to be very scary, very tough to play in Denver. Mont's got an appointment. All right, Mont, you have a good day, sir. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you tomorrow. Tomorrow's a big birthday stream. 34, man. I'm getting old. The running game left a lot to be desired. Javonte Williams is now gone, though. The Broncos brought in both rookie R.J. Harvey and J.K. Dobbins to take his place. Behind an offensive line that finished first in ESPN's run block win rate last season, the new additions to the backfield should help the running game improve. You can't get much worse. I mean, you had the best offensive line, and you had a running back that still couldn't. He was at the bottom of all those rankings. It's like, geez, just get someone competent back there. You know what I mean? Look at all these swinging running back. He was terrible. Look at all those terrible, damn near last in all those categories. Javonte Williams ranked 42 of 49 running backs in rush yards over expected. That's not good. When you're running behind the best offensive line, what are we doing? Shout out Stream Hive 63 over on Kick. Good morning. The addition by subtraction of removing the unproductive Williams runs and inserting merely average replacement will raise the floor of their offense. 24 Broncos offensive line, which was elite returns. There were no key additions in free agency or the draft. None were needed. Yeah. You just got to hope you don't get the injury bug. Ooh. So they drafted R.J. Harvey out of UCF. Harvey was one of the most explosive playmakers in the 25 NFL draft class. He hit 18.5 miles per hour, 10 yards out of his 40, showcasing his quick burst and speed. At UCF, Harvey put up monster production, clearing 1,000 yards in 3 straight seasons, closing his college career with 1,844 total yards and 25 touchdowns in 2024. He consistently raised his output every year, dominating defense with his big playability. He's got fantastic vision, tremendous feet. You love when a running back has great feet work. You love to hear that. $34. Once you hit 35, you got to start going by Bill. My grandpa was Bill. I'm Will, but we'll see. I'm sure there'll be at some point. There'll be that change. That's funny, though. Nearly 14% of his carries went for 15 or more yards. Second to only Trayvon Henderson, who we saw Trayvon Henderson. That boy can scoot. Starts his career off by taking the kickoff 100 yards for the Patriots. Let's go to the house. He posted 83rd percentile 40 time and 93rd percentile explosion score. And that's what they need. They don't need a guy that can run super. They need a guy that's very, very explosive. If you got an offensive line that's the best offensive line in the league, and number one in like contact, running back contact number one in contact before 3 yards, being able to get to 3 yards downfield before you get touch is how I'm trying to say that. You just need a guy that can explode quickly like that. So if this guy is the real deal, you better watch out. We might want to keep an eye on him. Well, R.J. Harvey, keep an eye on that little young stud running back. We might have to bet some of his overs to start the season before people realize how good this kid is. Who they start the week off with again? They got an easy game one, don't they? Oh, the Titans. Yeah, they're going to run all over the Titans. That's going to be everyone's survivor pick, by the way. It's going to be Denver Broncos week 1. Guaranteed. By the way, look at all these charts, stats, heat maps. This is why you need a copy of this book. I know BMAC got his copy of the book. Let's go. Even better, we'll call you Billy. Oh, God. And the offensive line was solid, but looked worse because of Williams' inefficient runs. God, he's really catching blows. Him and the Raiders catching blows. After several lost seasons due to injury, J.K. Dobbins rehabbed his reputation with the Chargers last season, finishing 6th in an explosive run rate among qualified running backs. They brought in J.K. Dobbins over the summer. Behind the offensive line that creates space, Dobbins has proven he can be an explosive option in the running game. If we, this might be Bo Nix under and the running backs over. Maybe that's how we look to start the season, So in 24, DC Vance Joseph decided to simplify the defense. Before the season, defensive lineman Matt Henningsen said it's essentially just trying to make the playbook as simple as possible, where every single guy can pick it up, learn it, understand it, and just go play football. That's it. The secondary was outstanding last year. Patrick Surtain won Defensive Player of the Year, anchoring an elite man coverage unit, and Riley Moss stepped in at cornerback 2 role, boosting depth and coverage flexibility. The signing of free safety Brandon Jones strengthened communication and tackling from the back end. He finished with 115 tackles, 3 INTs, and strong PFF grades. Denver ranked number 3 in man coverage snaps, combining tight coverage with diversified blitz and stunts, and the unit led the NFL in sacks with 63. Holy cow, breaking Denver's franchise single-season record. That's interesting. How good was their defense last year from the year before? They went from 31st to 1st in overall defensive efficiency, 31st to 3rd in early down defense, 30th to 1st in pass defense, and 32nd to 2nd in run defense. It was a larger turnaround for any team. Again, expecting the defense to show improvement thanks to staying healthier and playing a weaker schedule is one thing. But jumping from 30 to 1st in multiple defensive categories is something totally different. So this isn't just because they had an easy schedule. This defense, something clicked. And it should stay that way. And they added some good veterans. And now you would be like, well, how are those veterans going to fit into this defense? Well, we just learned that they simplified the playbook so that anyone could join it and hop in easy. So, I mean, if they stick to that, this defense should be pretty good this year again, I would guess. While they did an excellent job for the most part, there are a couple of areas they can improve. For starters, Peyton made great halftime adjustments to help Nix deal with pressure. Nix, like most young QBs, struggled with the pressure. In the first half of games, when pressured, he had a minus 0.54 EPA per attempt. When he was clean, he had a plus 0.2 EPA per attempt. This is all stuff about their draft picks. If you're interested in that, go get a copy of this and go check it out. Oh, look at all these stats and charts and everything. Ooh, is RJ Harvey going to have the backfield to himself? No running back had their draft cost rise higher than RJ Harvey through the NFL draft. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Harvey will have to adjust from playing an NFL offense that differs from Gus Malzahn's offense he played at UCF, which affords light boxes and wide rushing lanes. He faced a light box on 60.8% of his runs, the fourth highest among the backs in the draft. He exploited those fronts, posting 7.4 yards per rush. He was contacted 5 or more yards down the field on 23.7% of his runs, third in his class. 44.1% of his rushing yards came after contact, the second lowest rate in the draft. Harvey's physical profile supports his big playability when given room to run. He's fast. But things got more interesting for Harvey when the team brought in J.K. Dobbins after the draft. Despite his bottom-tier efficiency numbers last year, Javonte Williams kept getting snaps in Denver because his ability to pass protect. While fantasy players are rightfully excited about the prospects of Harvey that Harvey allowed, PFF grades Dobbins 5th amongst qualified running backs in pass blocking last season, and he is unlikely to be in the same liability as a runner as Williams was last season. Dobbins was 6th in explosive run rate among qualified backs last season. So they're going to have a little 1-2 punch. We're seeing that more in the NFL, a little 1-2 punch of different backs. You have RJ Harvey there for the quick, explosive plays. You can have J.K. Dobbins in there who can also run the ball to keep the defense honest, but he's a good pass blocker. Let's see. Broncos were strong against the run in 24, allowing just 3.9 yards per carry to running backs. They were 7th in yards before contact allowed per running back carry and 6th in yards allowed after contact on those runs. The entire core of the defensive line was last season is back after DJ Jones signed a 3-year extension. All three of Zach Allen, John Franklin Myers, and Malcolm Roach are heading into their final year of their deals, but Denver did add Savion Jones in the 3rd round. And then one of their big additions was linebacker Dre Greenlaw, signed from the 49ers. Greenlaw missed almost all last season after suffering a freak Achilles injury in the 49ers Super Bowl loss. He had been one of the top linebackers in the league when healthy. He should upgrade the defense, assuming he gets back to that level. But there's at least some injury concern. We'll see. I think they'll be just fine. Look, they even got room to improve in the red zone. They EPA per play, they're only ranked 16th. Oh, they were dead last in motion. Sean Payton in the red zone says, "Screw it. We don't need no motion. We don't need none of that. We're going to run the ball right down your throat." But they were number 6 in play action. That makes sense. If you're not using motion, you're more than likely going to be using play action. Kind of trick that defense a little bit. Broncos not a good first quarter scoring team, 23rd last year. I like looking at these. But they were the number 3rd best second quarter team. That's interesting. So look at first and third quarters. They were bottom half of the league, but they were in the top 6 in second and fourth quarter points. Something to think about when you're live betting and wagering. They were number 2 in ATS cover margin, number 3 in ATS cover percentage. Yeah, because they went 12-5 against the spread. Cortland Sutton in the red zone. Cortland Sutton for the wide receivers received majority of the targets by a long shot, 23 targets in the red zone. Next up was Troy Franklin with 8. Cortland Sutton, first touchdown scorer. That's how you do that. Broncos strength of schedule, 14th easiest schedule, so they're kind of dead middle of the pack. Back to Bo Nix. First half of the games, he was when pressured was not good, but the adjustments by Sean Payton in the second half of games, when he was pressured, his EPA instead of a minus 0.52, he went from a minus 0 to a minus 0.13. So improvement, still not great, but improvement. But when he was clean, he was a plus 0.192 EPA per attempt. So where he ranks when pressured in the first half, he was number 37th in EPA, number 42 in success rate, number 38 in yards per attempt. When pressured in the second half, he was number 2 in EPA, number 26 in success rate, number 7 in yards per attempt. So big adjustments there. Still not great, but big adjustments. And we were just talking about this. Another thing the Broncos must work on is improve their scoring out of the gate. First quarter scoring needs to improve. Denver ranked number 23 in first quarter points per game last year. They ranked 8th in points per game the last 3 quarters combined. Denver ranked 26 in first quarter points per drive last year, but ranked number 12 in points per drive the last 3 quarters combined. Denver ranked 26 in first quarter score per drive last year, but they ranked 14th in score per drive last 3 quarters combined. So they start off slow. I think that's going to continue. I think it's a Sean Payton thing. Sean Payton team is like a team, like that boxer that just needs to get hit a couple times, kind of throws the first couple rounds, just kind of get in the groove of things, and then really turns it up and turns it on. That's kind of what I see here from Denver. So I think we continue to look, especially with Denver being more in the public spotlight and public darling this year. I think we're going to get some good odds on the other teams against Denver in the first quarter. Although I don't know if I'm going to trust the Titans week 1 in the first quarter. We will see. One more aspect the Broncos must improve on is performance on early downs. Denver ranked 16th and 23 in early down efficiency with Russell Wilson, but with Nix, the Broncos ranked 29th in early down efficiency last year. Let's look at the numbers of various stats that are used to calculate the number 29 rankings on early downs. 51% of Denver's first downs led to third downs. That ranks 30th in the NFL. They must reduce that rate. Just 17% of Denver's first down plays gained another first down, which ranks 25th. 24% of Denver's early down plays gained another first down, which ranked 23rd. Part of that was Denver's early down run game led by Williams, which was extremely inefficient. Without Williams, Broncos' early down metrics should improve, but Payton must strategically try to keep Nix and the offense out of third down situations that are challenging to convert. This offense needs all the help it can get because once again faces a top 10 schedule of defenses. Denver will play the number 8 toughest defense in general, including a number 7 toughest schedule of pass defenses. Nix can use any edges he can get in the form of early game and early down aggression from his play caller to avoid coming from behind on the scoreboard after the first quarter and from behind in late down and distant situations. Interesting. With the help, what will help the Broncos rest situation vastly improve this year? Last year, the Broncos played 6 games when their opponents had over a week to prepare for them, and 6 games when they were at rest disadvantage. This year, they played just 3 games at rest disadvantage. The Broncos entered the season with a loftier expectation than we've seen in years for good reason. They're coming off a 10-win season that could have been even better had they performed better in close games. They're now projected to be favorites in 12 of 17 games and are expected to win nearly double their 24 preseason projection. But the jump from promising surprise to true contender will require improvement in several key areas: faster starts, better early down efficiency, and continued development from Bo Nix under pressure. Denver cannot afford to play from behind as often as they did in 24. They led after the first quarter in just 6 of their games. The good news is they have the supporting cast to help their young QB. They have the NFL's best offensive line returning and intact. The run game should be a big step forward with the additions of R.J. Harvey and J.K. Dobbins. The defense, which staged an extraordinary turnaround in 24, is poised to remain elite thanks to the continuity and simplified schemes that saw success. While a repeat of last year's defensive dominance isn't guaranteed, the unit should be strong enough to keep Denver in most games, especially in the offense, if the offense avoids putting them in bad spots early. The improved rest schedule and smart cap allocation provide further advantage. Ultimately, the Broncos in 25 ceiling hinges on Nix's growth in his second season, which we all know is tough for a quarterback. There's that sophomore slump for a reason, but Nix is also not your average second-year quarterback. He's old. He's old. Remember, he played 6 years in college. If Peyton can continue to scheme him into favorable situations, if Nix builds on the late season improvement we saw under pressure, Denver absolutely can live up to the newfound status as a playoff contender. And there you have it. There are your Denver Broncos 2025 season. I don't know, man. I don't know. I naturally want to fade this team because they were a shock and a surprise last year. They got a quarterback in his second year, but I don't like fading Sean Payton. And I'd also, I like fading the public who is all over Denver here. But I don't know. I'm going to be very, very picky in how I choose to fade this team. I think the first quarter is a concern. I don't think that is a coincidence last year. I don't think that changes. But after seeing all the, going through these breakdowns, getting a better understanding of like, hey, I didn't realize they had the best offensive line in the league. They had a good one, and it was the best. Didn't know that their running back behind the best offensive line was just terrible still. And now they add some key pieces, an explosive young guy out of UCF, maybe, plus J.K. Dobbins, who ranks 6th best in pass blocking, also very good in explosive rates. Denver should be able to run the ball, eat up clock. And that defense, we know that defense is good. I don't know. It's going to be tough to fade Denver. I see why everyone's hyped up on them. I really do. I think Denver is poised to be one of those teams. And I didn't realize they were 1-6 in one-score games last year. Probably a lot of that's due to having a young quarterback. How much has he learned from last season? Can he improve in those late game situations where you need a score to win? I don't know. I think the best way to bet the Broncos here is bet the extremes. So bet them to win the division, take their win total up above 10.5 or 11.5, but then also take their win total below, 8.5, 7.5. I think you're either going to see tremendous growth or them stumble. I don't think this team is going to be right at expectations and get 10 wins. I think it's going to be either 12 wins or you're going to see 8 or less. That's how I would bet it, at least because then you get plus money on both sides and you're just rooting to not get middled. But there you have it. That's the Denver 2025 NFL preview. If you're liking this video, you can catch us live every morning, 4:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Down below, as you can see right below me, is my handles on all this social media sites that I stream to. Come find me there. Subscribe to the channel. Smash the like button. We'll catch you guys on the next video. B-Max says Denver going to take the division. That's just me, though. And a lot of people think that. I was thinking it was going to be the Chargers, but their offensive Slater going down, not good. Not good. But there you have it, folks. We're done for the day. I got to go to work. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the birthday stream. Be ready. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun one. I'll catch you guys live tomorrow, 4:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. But until then, good luck, good gambling, and game on.